Yes. Okay. Hi. Finally, I want to show you and teach you how to have your Plex available outside of your network and how to have it port forward, which is your ports being opened to the public, even with your IP being dynamic. Okay, so where I'm from, the situation is the following. I'm using my internet service provider, which we will aptly name him internet service provider and name him Orange. This internet service provider gives me an IP, which is dynamic IP, which we don't like, or we do, not sure. Doesn't really matter. Basically, it changes every time I restart my modem, every time it refreshes on its own. So that's not good if you want service to be able to connect to the same IP each and every time. So this modem is then, to make things a bit more complicated, connected to another router. And this router is my own personal router because the modem is fixed in my hallway, and if I only have it there, then I cannot have Ethernet where I have my PC. And if I can have Ethernet, I'll be stuck with Wi-Fi, and basically I don't want that. So I have my own personal router. And this own personal router also has dynamic IP. So now we have two devices that both have dynamic IP. And then from this router, we then connect to my actual Plex server, which is my PC. So how the hell do we have this working? Each and every boot, every restart and whatnot with dynamic IP. We're gonna be using a thing called IP reservation. Now, depending on what device you're using, it might be named differently. If I log into my actual router, in my case, the 192.168.0.1 brings me to my TP-Link router. And here, if I log in and then go to advanced, then go to DHCP server. Here you will have address reservation, which is aptly named also on my ISP provider. And then here you want to do the following. First, you need to find your device MAC address so then that you can reserve the IP to it. Now, in my case, this IP, this MAC address is automatically pre-filled. Now, in case if it's not pre-filled for you, when you type ipconfig in your CMD, you will see first of all your IP address. And then if you have this IP address, not IP address, but the full gateway. If you have this, the full gateway, you can log into your router. Once you log in, you should be able to see under internet or like wireless or network map, wherever basically your device is connected to, and find something like clients. And in clients, you will be able to see your MAC address of the device. So in my case, this is the PC MAC address, just in case your device has some specific rules. And if I then simply click on add, and here it wants to type in the MAC address, but since this router is quite smart, I can just click view connected devices, select my PC, and then provide the IP to it. Now this IP can be whatever you want. So in order to make this tutorial work for you, I advise you to put the very same IP. So we'll just save this. Oh God, there's way too many. We'll just save this like so. So it's 192.168.0.2.0. And once you do that, what's going to happen that every time this router restarts, every time the router applies new IP to your device, it will always apply the same IP. So whatever you do with this PC, you will always get this IP assigned. As we checked before in CMD, we can see this IPv4 address is always going to be like this. At least that's what it's going to try to do. Now, if you have done that, the second thing you need is to open the ports. Now, I'm not going to show you my Plex just yet, because if I do, I'm going to DDoS myself by showing my public IP, which I kind of don't want to do. But you know, when in Plex, you go on your network, and when you're there, you're able to see the outside IP. So if you want to actually connect to your network outside, you go on remote access, and under remote access, you see the ports, you see the which IP has to be opened. So if we do that, um, for example, if we go and then remote access, you will see the IP, and this IP is going to be the same as the IP we had set up in here. And then it says which port you have to port forward. So to do that, which is the second part of opening your ports, you have to go to net forwarding and then port forwarding. And then here under Plex, you can click add, type in service Plex, device IP address, it's your PC address. So I'll have to say this IP many times, 192.168.0.20. Then internal and external port should be the port of the Plex, so 32400. The protocol, you can set it to TCP and then apply. Now this is port forward and opened, so you can access your Plex outside of your network, meaning your friends, your family, and anyone else who's connecting to your Plex server can watch without transcoding. It can be direct play. Now, this is going to work for as long as your IP stays like this. Now, in my case, since I have two modems, that's not going to stay always the same, because my main modem also has to have port forward, and the same ports have to be opened on there as well. So in your case, if you're the same as me, you have two modems, routers, you have to do the same on the main modem as well. So on my main modem, what I do is, again, type the name of my device, so TP-Link, find MAC address of my device. Now, in case of TP-Link router, you can just type in Google the name of your router, where is the MAC address, and it's gonna say the MAC address is on the back of your router. So it's like a physical sticker, and you just find it and use it, and then use the IP. Now for this IP, I'm using a different one, only because they are not letting me use anything else besides these IPs. So in your case, you can use absolutely the same one. But in my case, this is 192.168.6464. And then also, you have to port forward the same IP for your Plex. So again, go Plex to this IP, TCP 32400, 32400. Once you've done both of these steps, your Plex is going to be now permanently accessible outside of your network. Which means when I want to watch my movies and I'm not at home and I connect to my Plex, I'll be able to actually see all my movies with direct play, not transcoding. And that's it. That's how you do it. It's extremely simple and easy to use. And if you need any help, ask me in the comments below. I might help you. And that's about it. Happy Plexing.